Hi guys, Dana here. So I had some bananas that were getting pretty overripe, and I love to make banana bread when I have those. So I figured I would show you today how I make a gluten-free and can be completely dairy-free option for a banana bread that's delicious. We'll see how well this goes, considering that the kids are in the background. You may hear some screaming, you know, fun stuff. But like I said, this is a gluten-free recipe. I am going to use a tiny bit of dairy in this recipe, but it can be made to be completely dairy-free. We do have intolerances in our family, but we don't have any allergies so bad that, you know, a little bit is going to hurt any of us. So what I'm making is a gluten-free chocolate chip Nutella banana bread. So I'll show you how we do the Nutella on the top before it goes in the oven. It is definitely a little bit more of a dessert banana bread than maybe like your traditional morning banana bread, but either way, it is still the best in the whole world. So I'm just gonna walk you through how I make it. And I'm gonna start with, this is just 2 tablespoons of butter that I've already softened. And you can use any vegan butter substitute, will work, or you can use oil. So that's 2 tablespoons, and I will have the full recipe in my blog post for you to reference. I'm gonna do a 1/2 cup of light brown sugar. And again, for this, you could use coconut sugar, you could use any kind of substitute like that if you didn't want to use brown sugar. Okay, so I have a 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar. I'm just gonna add that in, and then I'm just gonna cream those together for just a sec. All right, now I am going to add, a whole lot of room here, but I've got 2 eggs. I'm just gonna separate the whites, and the whites are what I'm going to put inside. We just started getting eggs from our chickens, so it's been kind of exciting. Give those a stir. All right, now I'm going to add in about a teaspoon of vanilla. You can measure if you want. I just eyeball it anymore. And then a 1/4 cup of applesauce. These are the Kirkland organic applesauce pouches that I get for my girls. I just happen to know that one of these pouches is a little bit more than a 1/4 cup. And depending on the gluten-free flour that you choose to use, you may want to use more applesauce or more oil if you're using oil. Some gluten-free flour mixes tend to be more dense than others. My favorite flour mix is Cut for Cup. It does have dairy in it though. It does have milk powder in it. So if you need to have no dairy at all, Pamela's is a good option for you. Pamela's does tend to be a little bit more dense though. That milk powder that they put in the Cut for Cup, it does help things to be a little bit more moist and a little lighter and a little fluffier. So if you're using a mix like Pamela's or one that you make on your own and you find that it's kind of dense, I always just add a little bit of extra either oil or applesauce to those recipes. Okay, and I'm gonna add in my bananas. The original recipe for this called for 4 ripe bananas. I found that to be way too much. It almost kind of made the bread super slimy. So I have found that 2 bananas works perfectly for this recipe. And you just use a fork to kind of mash them up. It doesn't have to be like completely, you know, pulverized. It's okay if there's still some chunks in there. This is actually something that I usually have my kids help with because they think it's super fun to mash up bananas. Okay. Now, I'm gonna add 1.25 cups of the gluten-free mix. I believe the one that I'm using today is cup per cup. I think that was the last bag that I found. We're gonna add some baking soda. 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Mix that up for just a minute. I am making banana bread. She said, yes. Okay. Okay, now you can use mini chocolate chips, work really good. I don't have any minis at the moment, so I'm just gonna put a good handful of chocolate chips. And I typically use a vegan chocolate chip, so Enjoy Life is a good brand. Some other good brands that you can find in like health food stores. There will be dairy-free options for chocolate chips if you need that option. Okay. Tiptoe in the background.
I'll try to be quiet.
Okay, I'm gonna take a greased bread pan, a loaf pan. And just get the batter in there. I told y'all. There would be screaming. Okay, so I'm just spreading it out even in the pan. Okay. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some Nutella. Here, let me get this out of the way. I'm gonna throw it in the microwave for, it doesn't take long, like 15-20 seconds. Of course, probably depending on your microwave, but there is milk in Nutella. You can find other chocolate hazelnut type spreads that are completely vegan, don't have any dairy in them. Again, I have found them in Sprouts before in the past, I'm sure, like a Whole Foods Market. or somewhere like that would have good options as far as a completely vegan and dairy-free chocolate hazelnut type spread, if that's what you need. And again, I'm just eyeballing it. Okay, so I'm gonna pop this in the microwave for just about 20 seconds. Okay, so it'll be kind of a more liquidy consistency when it comes out of the microwave, and this is the fun part. So you're gonna kind of just pour it and drizzle it over the top of the banana bread. Then you're gonna take that knife and you're gonna kind of work the Nutella through the top, and it kind of results in like a marbling in your banana bread of that Nutella on the top. It is amazing. Okay, now I'm gonna pop this in the oven, and when it's done, we'll show you what it looks like. And this is what you have when it comes straight out of the oven. It is heavenly. I will link the blog post and the recipe down below. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll have lots more recipes on here.